If you are looking for something dark and dense and full-bodied with religious undertones, you are going to want to check out The Way of Unity by Sarah K. Bolstrop. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is The Way of Unity book review. This was a dark historical fantasy which was rich in religious thematics that really made me as a reader think. This was an easy 5-star for me, so just know that going into this review it's going to be a bit of a gush because it basically hit all those points that I absolutely adore in a book. Jumping into the plot, the priesthood of the intercessors has ruled for too long. Their message of purification has gone too far, and the various players across the land of Velspar are ready to rise against them. Whispers of the first heresy have spread throughout the ruling Scalans, who wish to end blood rites, the burning of spirits, and the mind games of the religious elite. But before they're able to start a rebellion, a fire takes everything from our main character, Sibella Ledane. Her family and future are gone in an instant. Sibella was only a child the first time that heresy was mentioned, but under the rage of her grief, she seeks to bring intercession to its brutal and bloody end. Orchestrating a holy rebellion is only the beginning. Now, I did mention that this book is quite heavy. The prose, in my opinion, is fairly dense, and it does take a lot of brain power. This is the type of book that I would read a couple of chapters of, and then I had to put it down to go and think about what I had read. But I adored doing that. I really enjoyed having to put a book down and really think about what I had experienced. There is so much to unpack in The Way of Unity, but I'll start off by saying that if you don't appreciate the deep exploration of the darker side of religion and faith, this is not the book for you. Personally, it is one of my favorite themes that is explored in any fiction, and I find the non-fiction surrounding religion fascinating. I did a course as part of my minor when I was in university surrounded things like religious studies and just how it can be used and also how it differs throughout the world, and it is utterly fascinating to me. So throughout this book, the ideas of religion and politics tied to faith dance around each other in an exploration of power and what that means. Now, whilst I did enjoy quite a lot about The Way of Unity, I will largely stick to the thematics of religion and the discussions that The Way of Unity brought to the forefront on that topic. So as the reader, we learn about the intercessors who worship the gods Sayatka and Kahadol. Now, I hope I pronounced those correctly. I apologize if I haven't. These gods demand sacrifices of their subjects in the name of blood rites in the day of their birth. So it's quite ritualistic. It feels very cult-like in the way that they demand these sacrifices going forward, and it then poses the question, how much does one person need to give of themselves to be considered faithful? What is faith really? When is enough enough? Our characters go through this process with some believing that this is the way of things and there is no point in changing course for the safety of themselves and their family. We also have others who want the sacrifices to end, thinking that it is a barbaric practice and not a great way to experience and express love to what is essentially meant to be a deity and a god of love who offers protection. And I thought the conversations around that were fascinating and very reminiscent of some of the religious practices that are in our world today and have been in the past. We also have the battle between the intercessors and the Scalans themselves. Now, I don't think I really explained the relationship between the intercessors and the Scalans as well as I could have in the plot point there, but essentially they are two separate entities with separate beliefs. So our intercessors are the people who believe in the gods that I mentioned, and the Scalans are sort of wanting to come on the opposite side of that and not think that those practices are barbaric and that it could be changed. Both parties, however, desire power, and both parties throughout the book will use fear to gain that power, often stripping the subjects of power, taking away freedom of choice as a means of control. without giving too much away, we do see one of these parties fall from power and the other party rise using quite similar tactics of fear to be able to essentially do the same thing. So we start questioning who is right and who is wrong if we're achieving the same outcome by using different tactics, or even using these same tactics, and what makes one side better than the other, which again I thought was fascinating. Now I do want to mention one part of this book, which is the meridian. It is a headband with 3 stones which basically numb emotions, or that's what I took away from the book. It is the magic of the world. It is put out through these headdresses across the head, and the stones invoke a kind of numbness or a softening of extreme emotion, which some people had come to rely on because they no longer wanted to feel the emotion, they just wanted to feel at peace. And they were also used as tools from people who wanted power for themselves. All of these elements opened up conversations surrounding the concept of religious ideation for me, and who is the right of 2 seemingly extremist ideas. It was utterly fascinating, and I can't wait to read it again. There are definitely things that I missed the first time around because it was so thematic, and I think that on reread I'll pick up a whole lot more from The Way of Unity. Getting into more of, I guess, the story aspects of it rather than the thematics, is I quite like the flow and pace of the book itself. We follow Sabella, who grows up with the story. We've got short chapters timed before and after the main event, which will determine her life path, and it helps the reader make sense of her decisions. We really do get a good look at the why her life has turned out the way that it did. As the years progress throughout the story, so do the political players in this political game that underline the entire thing. We see our characters as they go through the years and they start to question the why of the way of things, and start seeking knowledge from before they were born to make their own decisions and alliances in a way that feel natural to this world. By doing this, we also get to see how people age and hard or soften to the ideas of the past, how they use the knowledge found along the way for either the greater good or turn it into a weapon. Not only were we experiencing some bigger themes and questions, but they were also timed well within the story, in my opinion. So as I said in the beginning, I would put this book down every couple of chapters and really sort of think about it, and then when I picked up that book again, it would feel like a natural progression. Now, I'm not sure if this review is going to come out super convoluted because the book is so thematic. I can't really go into too much detail because the chapters do move quite quickly without going into spoiler territory, but you are going into a very heavy book when you pick it up. This was a no-brainer, 5-star for me. I thought it was brilliant. I love the conversations that we were having. I'm looking forward to rereading it sometime in the future, but it's not going to be for everyone. I actually went and read the author's website and some of the inspirations behind The Way of Unity, and that itself was not what I expected. It was not what I had taken away from the book, but after reading those sort of where the inspiration had come from, I could definitely see those influences throughout the book. So then reading it on reread is also going to have value. This is going to be for people who like things like Mother, the movie Mother, where it is horrific. We are dealing with a theme and it's a little bit abstract, a little bit out there. And it's going to make you come away with questions and really think about your own beliefs. So if you like that sort of thing, you're going to love this book, and I would highly recommend it. I have no idea where book 2 is going to take us. I would argue that this could be read as a standalone if you wanted to, but I personally cannot wait to see how this story continues to unfold. That was The Way of Unity by Sarah K. Bolstrop. Are you thinking of picking this one up? Have you read it? What were your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content, give it one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will. I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.